Welcome into College Football Every Game on the Board podcast. This is segment 1 with Joe Raineri. Joe, welcome into the pod. How are you?
What's going on, man? It's a good time of year to be alive, be a sports investor. You got October and postseason baseball. You got NFL, NBA's around the corner, hockey started, and, of course, my favorite, college football. Doesn't get any better than this, man.
It absolutely doesn't. We're breaking down the top fourth of the card here. We're going 303 down to 332 on your rotation number. We'll hit the weekday games, the Saturday games. This is the first segment of 4 segments, College Football Every Game on the Board podcast. We'll be doing it each and every week throughout college football season. First up here in the Sun Belt, 303-304, we got Georgia Southern at South Alabama. Georgia Southern, the Eagles laying 10 on the road, 46 the total in Mobile, Joe.
All right, so Georgia Southern has owned this, okay? It basically has owned this rivalry. They've won the last 5 meetings by an average of nearly 5 touchdowns. The problem here is one team, Georgia Southern, plays good defense. They love to run the ball. They're very good at it. And then you have South Alabama, who does like to run the ball, who can run the ball, but that's all they can do. They rank 110 or worse in total yards, passing yards, and points scored this season. There's not a whole heck of a lot that they do well, and that's the problem that we've got here. So Georgia Southern's bread and butter is the rushing game. It's the only way South Alabama can actually move the ball. So to tell you the truth, I think both are going to be committed to the ground and pound game, and I think there's going to be some defense. There's going to be a lot of ball control. There's not going to be a lot of scoring. So give me the under in this matchup.
Yeah, and the market's moved it from 49 to 46.5. Looks like the high water mark as we're talking right now. So looking towards the under of 46.5 in the Sun Belt action on Thursday night. It's also a doubleheader on Thursday night, both Thursday night and Friday night, Joe. We got Temple at ECU up next. 47.5 here, 11.5. That's Temple, the Owls, laying on the road.
Yeah, look at the Owls just beat down poor Georgia Tech, right? 24-2. What a strange situation that was. Sounded like a Miami Marlins baseball score. 24-2 was brutal. Good rushing game last week for the Temple Owls. 135 yards for Ramon Davis, had 2 touchdowns. Jaeger Gardner also 18 carries, 69 yards. That's what they do very well. They can ground and pound, but they can also throw it around the yard. But really, when it comes to Temple, it's all about defense, guys. East Carolina, also pretty good defense. They actually earned the victory last week, 24-21 over Old Dominion. Their defense did the job. They held the Monarchs to just 90 yards rushing, 203 passing yards. But as far as this game goes, the Temple Owl defense is really, really a notch above what they've got going on right now. I think we've got 2 very good defensive teams. I definitely think that Temple has a few more weapons on the offense side. They'll chew up the clock. They'll run the ball. Temple will pull it up and throw it downfield a couple of times. Temple's only allowed 31 points in its 3 wins. Yeah, keep in mind, ECU guys, they have seen the under cash in all 5 of their games this year. Here's another one. I noticed Thursday sounds like a wonderful day in football, guys, college football. Give me the under in this one. Also, the under 5-1 in the last 6 meetings with these 2 teams.
All right, a lot of stats there and trends pointing towards the under. We're seeing at 47.5, Temple and ECU looking towards the under. Friday night lights action here, Joe. A good one in the AAC, a key matchup here. We got UCF, the Knights, at Cincinnati Bearcats. The Knights laying 3.5 or 4 on the road, 60 the total.
Love this kid, Dylan Gabriel, UCF quarterback, comes in from Milton, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. So what does he do? He throws for about 1,400 yards so far, 14 touchdowns through 5 games. It's exactly what UCF needed last week to take on Connecticut to feel better about themselves. So they thrashed Connecticut, got the offense going, played some defense. Cincinnati, what can I say? I had them last week against the Thundering Herd, against Marshall. I love what Luke Fickell and company are doing to the program. Great defense. The one stat that stuck out to me in this game, which I think is what's going to cause the biggest problems for Cincinnati, is their offensive line is not good. In fact, they've already given up 12 sacks through 4 games, not being able to protect on the offensive side of the ball. And UCF, known for their offense, Drew, but the reality is they've already got 11 sacks on the defensive side of the ball. They come after you, and they're going to come after them again, the Bearcats, this week again. And this is the problem, man. UCF's going to put points up. If you can't protect the quarterback, if you've got holes on that offensive line, you're not going to be able to match them point for point. So while they play good defense, they're not going to be able to shut down UCF, and I don't think they'll be able to score enough points to keep this close. So give me UCF, lay the points. I think they win close to double digits.
All right, and we got the doubleheader on Friday night as well, Joe. So heading out to the Mountain West here for the nightcap. We got New Mexico at San Jose State, 6.5. The Spartans laying at home, 63.5 the total.
Who the hell would have thunk it? San Jose State is a favorite at home, and thank goodness they're playing the New Mexico Lobos, guys. The deal is, it's been actually pretty profitable to be backing San Jose State in this matchup. They are 3-1 straight up, 4-0 against the number in the last 4 games against these Lobos, including a 2-0 straight up and against the number record at home, which is where they find themselves. Listen, San Jose State's been playing some quality competition. They took on Air Force, didn't win, but they gave Air Force a fight. They had won on the road. They collect $1.5 million to go to Arkansas to kick the crap out of them, which is, I'm actually being generous. Arkansas turned the ball over like 9 times in that game. But you still got to win, and that's the bottom line with this team. I like the Spartans, man. 11-3 straight up and 9-5 against the number in their last 14 games as a favorite. I think they go home. I think they are battle-tested. I love the grit on this team, and confidence is a beautiful thing, Drew. This team actually thinks they should win, and that goes a long way, especially when you're playing New Mexico. I don't think it's too big a number. I love it. Give me San Jose State to win and to cover.
All right, laying it with the Spartans there shows you a little bit about who they're playing there, Joe, in terms of laying here a touchdown. But
that's the most I will ever talk about San Jose State in a positive light, I promise you.
Good stuff there. On the weeknight slate, he's Joe Raineri. Guys, use the coupon code JOE69 at checkout for a 7-day all-access at sportsmemo.com for a big discount there. So the coupon code is JOE69 at checkout for a 7-day all-access package. Get each and every play he releases in every sport for less than $10 a day. Coupon code JOE69 at checkout. USF at UConn up next. Talk about 2 teams where the word good shouldn't come next to them. We're seeing USF laying 11 on the road. Speaks to their opponent here. 51.5 the total in stores.
Yeah, there's a few don'ts I have in this world, Drew, that I live by. One of them is I don't do opera, and the other is I don't bet on Charlie Strong. And I promised myself that this was going – I swear I said I would never, ever bet another dime on Charlie Strong in South Florida, but yet here I am as he's going up against Connecticut. Connecticut, we told you. Backdoor cover was nice, but, Connecticut is Connecticut. South Florida can't move the ball. Charlie Strong, I don't know what the deal is with him. Continues to get blown out. No offense. They have struggled, but they've also dominated this particular series over the last couple of years. In fact, they have won the last 7 games between these two. I think they're the best bets, and while I hate South Florida and Charlie Strong, Connecticut is not going to win this game. South Florida is going to win this, unfortunately, and they are going to cover. But I do at least like the direction Connecticut and the program is going. I don't know what the hell he's doing in South Florida.
Joe, up next in the ACC, we got Boston College at Louisville. Louisville Cardinal laying 6 at home, 61 the total.
Yeah, it's a lot of points, isn't it? Listen, the Cardinals, I love the new coach. I love the direction. They're trying to get that whole Bobby Petrino stink off of them. And, they haven't exactly played well against the spread in conference play either. They've actually lost their last 8 games against their rivals in the ACC. However, Boston College, absolutely great against the spread, especially on the road. They've won 20 of their last 28. I love Boston College here. I think they've got the advantage in the game. They have won the last 2 games of this series. And quite honestly, the eye test, Boston College has played way better than Louisville. Louisville's going to be tough. They're finally, I think, we're going to have a different conversation about them in a couple of years. Love the direction they're going, but I love the points in this. Give me Boston College to take care of this game and win it outright.
All right, Joe, staying in the ACC, we got North Carolina traveling to Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. 48.5 the total, with UNC laying 10.5 in Bobby Dodd.
Listen, love me some Paul Johnson, Georgia Tech, a guy that built a reputation on being tough. And he was going to, nobody was going to ever go to Georgia Tech and run them over. The problem is Paul Johnson's gone, but his entire team that there was recruited to run the triple option. That is not what they are doing right now. So they're in transition, and they have struggled not only this year, but even into last year. They have struggled against the number in their last 7 games. North Carolina, they got a new coach, too. His name is Mac Brown. You might have seen it. They were this close to taking down Clemson last week. Go for the 2-point conversion at home. That is exactly what Mac Brown is bringing to North Carolina, a toughness. Love the freshman quarterback. Love the grit of this team. Unfortunately, they're a good defensive team. Unfortunately, Georgia Tech has got to take them on this week. I know some people are worried about North Carolina. What a letdown. Listen, it's Clemson. It's friggin' Clemson. They were this close. Mac Brown's not going to let them regress here. I think they are absolutely they are going to take care of Georgia Tech, whose offense, by the way, is the worst in the country. They're only averaging 13.5 points per game. Give me North Carolina. I'm shocked it's this low, but give me North Carolina to win and, of course, cover easily.
Yeah, it's tough to bet the Yellow Jackets now, man. This is a deep rebuild, and I don't know. I got questions on what they were doing philosophy-wise there at Georgia Tech. But we got Texas at West Virginia up next, Joe. 10.5. 61 the total. This is a tough spot to lay doubles in, but talent-wise, you got to give it to the Longhorns. Kind of tricky handicap here. What are you thinking in the Big 12?
Here's the problem. Tom Herman gives me agita. If he's an underdog, the guy, I don't care if you're playing on the moon, the guy is going to cover. He's unbelievable. The problem is, and the big question is, what are the Texas Longhorns going to do on the road in this situation against what is an inferior team? I mean, I love West Virginia, don't get me wrong, but this is Texas. We're talking about UT. I mean, there is no question Texas is the better team in this matchup, but laying double digits on the road against, by the way, a West Virginia team, it's already got 3 wins on the season. The Mountaineers, I think their last home game was against NC State. They were 7-point underdogs. They took care of business. They won 44-27. They can score. They can play a little bit of defense. This historically has been exactly the kind of matchup that Texas has blown in the past. They've squeaked by, but they haven't covered. This is the problem. The Longhorns are 2-5-1 against the number in their last 8 conference games, and that, my friends, includes games against teams that they should beat. That's always the problem with Tom Herman on the road. I'm going to back the home team here, man. I've seen this movie before, and it ends where Texas is happy to get the hell out of Dodge with a win, but they don't cover.
Heading to the Big Ten next, Joe, we got Purdue at Penn State. Nittany Lions laying 28 in Happy Valley, 56 the total.
Yeah, it's Purdue. Tough luck here, man. Started off in Nevada, the opening of the year. They got out to a big lead and then choked it away late in the game there in the fourth quarter. And everything has gone downhill for Purdue since there. They lost their starting quarterback. They lost their starting wide receiver last week against Minnesota. Meanwhile, Penn State is still scoring on Maryland, I believe. It was a laugher. They are really starting to come into their own, Penn State. This is a terrible matchup for Purdue. I think their defense obviously is going to get really exploited by the Penn State and their quarterback, Sean Clifford. I think he's going to have a monster game in the air. Their pass defense at Purdue ranks 118th. The Nittany Lions passing offense, they're averaging 316 passing yards a game. No problem. I expect Penn State to win. And, I expect them to win really big. I don't care what the number is. Lay it. Penn State rolls against Purdue in this matchup.
Joe, let's talk some action. We got Ball State at Northern Illinois up next. 5 is what Northern Illinois is laying at home. 56 the total here.
Yeah, it's Northern Illinois has not had a great schedule. Very tough schedule. They've lost 3 straight, in fact, and you got to love MAC battles, don't you, man? And that's what this is going to be. I think this is going to be Ball State, Northern Illinois, your classic MAC battle, especially up in the trenches. I think Ball State is going to give Northern Illinois a really tough time here. The Cardinals, they've got a great passing offense. It ranks 8th in the country. They average 344 passing yards per game, while the Huskies, they give up yards in the air. They rank 66th against the pass. So as far as I'm concerned, remember the kid's name, Drew Plitt. He's going to have a really good game here. I expect this to come down to final possession kind of game. And I think Ball State, I think they do it. The Cardinals do it. Give me Ball State.
Liking the Cardinals, all right, in action. We also got Tulane at Army up next. This is an interesting game here, Joe. We got Tulane, the Green Wave, laying 3 on the road at Army. Army's been great at home, 44.5 the total.
Yeah, and don't laugh at me, guys, because I know you're going to try to do that. But I believe this is going to be more of a shootout than other people do. I think Tulane and Army both have some defenses. We know that. Army, guys, listen, if you watch them against Michigan, I expect some offense out of them. I also expect some offense out of Tulane. And